It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Coming to you from Los Angeles. And thank you, band. Thank you, fake audience. And welcome to the show, you got room open. Hopefully my computer won't do any restarts all by its lonesome. Okay, so here we are, and welcome to the viewers. I hate this delay between the chat room and reality, because you guys in the chat room are so entertaining. Anyway, okay, let's see what Scott Hansen is serving tonight at the restaurant for the Taxi TV menu. We're serving lobster ravioli with our salad, and of course the homemade focaccia bread with a glass of Firestone Chardonnay. Lobster ravioli. FedEx that, will you? Okay, so today's show is going to be pretty cool. We ran a list. Oh, you know what? Before we start the show, I want to let you know that we lost another screener. I don't think I mentioned this last week, but a screener named Frank Fuches, who was with us for probably 20 years. He is literally like a world-class expert on folk music. He did a ton of stuff for the Wood. He was an incredibly talented guitar player that toured and did lots of A-list sessions and stuff. And I just recently found out from a member of all people reached out to me maybe 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I heard that Frank has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I got an email, and I said, you know, if he had cancer, I think I'd know about it. I just saw him in the hallway the other day here at the office. He looked fine, no mention of it. It's probably just a phishing scam, somebody, looking, please send money to help kind of thing. And so I asked one of the other screeners that's been a long friend of Frank's, and he told me, yeah, Frank had been keeping it quiet. He didn't want people to know. He'd literally just been doing some gigs and some educational stuff. I don't know, maybe a month before he passed away. Anyway, he went into hospice last week and passed away last Wednesday night, and he will be missed. I can divulge his number now. So if you ever had a critique from number 27, that was Frank Fuches. And, having been around here for 20 years, he's probably touched tens of thousands of members over the years. So very sad to lose him. And Frank, may you rest in peace. And I hope that you now joined that awesome band up there in heaven. And what made me think about that is I was thinking about the Road Rally, which is coming up on November 6th through the 9th here in Los Angeles this year. And Frank has been at so many of them. He's been on a couple of panels over the years, and he's been just loved by people that he did one-to-one mentors with and mentor luncheons. So I'm very, very sad that Frank won't be joining us this year, and I'm glad he's no longer in pain, because apparently the pain from pancreatic cancer, it's really bad. So Frank, we love you. We miss you. Fare thee well, my friend. I think I mentioned last week Quincy Jones is booked already and can't do the Road Rally. What do you guys think about me reaching out to Jimmy Webb, who wrote Wichita Lineman and so many of the other Glenn Campbell hits and many, many other hits for other people? I've long been a fan of Jimmy Webb's. I've met him, and years ago asked him if he could do the Road Rally, but he was booked at the time. I like that idea. I want to see if you guys like Jimmy Webb as a possible. He would be a Living Legend award, I think, because he deserves that. Jimmy Webb is a genius. I saw him at an ASCAP, or no, not ASCAP, a Grammy thing. The night after the Grammys, they had like a concert for 2,000 or 3,000 people. It was all the songwriters doing their own stuff, and they did have the guys who wrote "I Can't Make You Love Me." tell the story of how that song came about, and Bonnie Raitt got up and did the song. And I've got to tell you, that was one of the, I don't know, like three greatest concert moments in my life. Just amazingly, just made the hair on your arm stand up. Jimmy Webb did a medley of his own stuff and told some stories, and was just amazing. So that made me think that he might be good for the road rally. So let me know. Looking at the okay stories behind the songs would be cool. Or would you guys prefer that we have somebody who's big? I also have a friend, a very close friend actually, named Jim Long, whose name, he's not exactly a household word unless you own or run a music library. He is like the Clive Davis of music library people. One of the first, one of the biggest, certainly one of the best, and is a very, very old close friend of mine. I know I could get him for the road rally if you guys would, if the consensus is you'd rather go film and TV for the honoree. It's always tough, you know, who do you make happy? The songwriters, the artists, or the film and TV people? Um, yeah, let's not run our list of favorites for 20 minutes. I do want to get the show underway. But while you guys are answering that, I'm going to go make the air conditioner a little cooler. I'll be back in 10 seconds as always. I promise not to leave. Problem is, the beginning of the show, the sun is beating on the blinds on the other side of the room, heating the room up. By the end of the show, the sun gets blocked by a mountain, and it gets freezing cold in here. Um, Jimmy Webb would make everyone happy, and then the film and TV people start. Dave Pensato, you know, I've actually, I am going to reach out and see if Pensato would like to do an interview with me. I don't know that he would be the right guy for a Lifetime Achievement Award, maybe. Um, but I like watching Pensato's videos. And, you know, frankly, I've never even bothered to find out. Does he live in Los Angeles? Does anybody know? Um, all right. So today's show is going to be about that listing that we ran, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, a little bit less than a couple of weeks ago, and the listing number was U140709TG, and this was for a TV commercial, and they, my feeling, well, I'll just read the listing because it pretty much expresses how I feel. Listing said, super well-connected publisher that specializes in music for TV commercials needs instrumentals or songs in several genres for a major retail brand that's currently finishing up 4 different TV spots. 3 types of music are needed, and here's a quote of exactly what we got from the publisher. Major retail brand looking for tracks for a series of 4 spots. Tracks should sound retro and be danceable, in parentheses R&B slash soul slash funk, or tracks can sound like they belong in a Wes Anderson or Tarantino or spaghetti western movie. So there's kind of a range right there. Or tracks can sound like rockin', gritty, early punk, retro punk. Lyrics are cool, but also not necessary. The budget is 15 to 20 grand per commercial, 50% of that fee going to the creator. And I added, this is probably one of those situations in which the ad agency has several possible musical directions they're considering for the various spots. We're putting our favorite commercial screeners on this, and their mission is going to be, if you hear something that would be exceptionally great in a TV spot for a major retail brand, and it's in one of the right genres, and sounds broadcast quality, and falls into the realm of what ad agencies typically use, then forward it. The bar will be high, even though this listing is more general than what we'd normally send out. Please do not email or call if you're not forwarded for this listing. Thank you very much. Even though the listing is broad, we're going to be looking for exceptionally strong possibilities, not music that might work. Some taxi tips. Full-length instrumentals or songs that are at least 2 minutes long are recommended. Mid to up-tempo recommended. Harsh, busy, frenetic material that won't work under dialogue or voiceover is not recommended. Short intros, and instrumentals or songs that are easy to edit are recommended. Fades or buttoned endings are both okay for this. If you submit songs with vocals, the lyrics should be universal and avoid specific names, dates, times, places, brands, and profanity. While your lyrics can be about just about anything. Wow, I have the word "about" in there twice. Think about, there it is, third time, what you typically hear in a TV commercial. Optimistic sounding music that makes you feel good is what ad agencies usually go with. Sad, negative, or overly deep lyrics probably aren't a good idea for this pitch. Do not submit stiff MIDI-driven tracks. No jingles! Exclamation point. And recapping those genres: retro-sounding danceable R&B, soul, or funk, semi-quirky music you might hear in a Wes Anderson, Quentin Tarantino, or spaghetti western film, a little cheesy but in a cool, good way. And then number 3, gritty rock and early retro-sounding punk. All deals will be negotiated directly with the publisher on a case-by-case basis, but anticipate a 50-50 split. You need to own or control the copyright and master recording. Do not submit for friends, blah, blah, blah. The rest is all boilerplate. So there you go. I'm only playing forwards today, and we couldn't play all the forwards because we will only play stuff that's forwarded on a Taxi TV episode if, in fact, the member has the music out there in a public way versus keeping it private. You know, some members don't want the world hearing their music. They only post it on Taxi so they can submit it for listing. So there was other stuff that got forwarded that you're not going to hear. There was one thing that was private, or was not marked public, and I personally loved it. It fell under the Wes Anderson banner. I just love this piece of music. And so I tracked down the member who's actually from Northern California but currently somewhere in Europe, and he actually just emailed me right before the show and said, yeah, go ahead and use it. So you'll get to hear that. So without any further ado, let's have a listen to what we've got. Get my little CD player cranking here. By the way, want to mention that Sophia is out of the office today, so we've got Ryan moderating today, and so behave yourselves because she's new to this. All right, and you know, I'm going to mention the names of the members today because these are all forwards, so I want to give these guys a pat in the back. Normally, a show where we're playing forwards and returns, I don't mention the names because I certainly wouldn't want to embarrass anybody, and I'm always grateful that people let us put their music that wasn't forwarded on the show to use as an example of how things could be improved, or ideas that might work to help them overall. You know, so we keep their name out of the mix. But today they're all forwards. So here you go. This one is called Be Yourself, and it's from Daniel Williams. Remember, this is for a retail brand. Check out the lyric, be yourself like no one else. Really good for fashion retail. You've got a Taxi TV bobblehead right here, Scott. Come on, tell me nobody else is moving. the famous Lasco fade right there. All right, so I liked it. It actually sounded retro sounding, which I think the listing mentioned retro sounding, had quite a bit of delay on it. The recording didn't sound too slick. I could easily see that being used for retail, right? So yeah, retro sounding danceable R&B / soul / funk. Yeah, sounds like Earth, Wind, and Fire. It really did. Okay, we like that one. I like that one. Did you guys like it? Okay, let's move on. I'm not going to play whole things because I've got like 15 things to play. So in order to get them all into the show, I'm going to play, like a minute or so of each one. This next one is called Celebrity, and it's by Alex Baugh, Baugh, and the artist is the Crazy Carls, which is odd because his name is Alex. Let's have a listen. Celebrity.
Yeah, that's right. I see you over here. Come on. You're looking great, looking fine. Spotlights on you all the time. Big dark glasses on your face. You're the winner. It's your praise. Pretty lady, you always get your way. Pretty lady, to stay above the fray. Won't let anyone jump into your show. You're a celebrity. Oh, here you go. Saying us all in the game. Nothing's meant to bring the fame. Oh, what's the cost? You're living free. You're a celebrity. Everyone is your best friend. The party to till the end. Oh, what's the cost? You're living free. You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity. You're the only one for me. You're a celebrity. You're a star. You walk on air. I see you walking with your red flame hair. So hot, keeping secrets. How you feeling that girl? Want to make your story real. Pretty lady, you always get your way. Pretty lady, to stay above the fray. Won't let anyone jump into your show. You're a celebrity. Oh, here you go. Saying us all in the game. Nothing's meant to bring the fame. Oh, what's the cost? You're living free. You're a celebrity. Everyone is your best friend. The party to till the end. Oh, what's the cost? You're living free. You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity.
And the fade. There we go. Okay, that was Celebrity by the Crazy Carls, Taxi member Alex Baugh. I liked it. I could see why that would work for a commercial. Got to say, all of us were kind of shooting in the blind on this one. I think the agency that reached out to our contact in New York was, like I think I mentioned in the listing, a lot of times they've got a series of spots and they're temping stuff in, trying to see what'll work. So they came up with all these different possibilities, and I'm sure that because there were several spots, different types of music worked for different spots. So we were all shooting in the dark a little bit. I haven't heard back yet from the guy in New York. I sent him an email and said, anything stick? And as is often the case, it could be the taxi member has gotten a call and hasn't bothered to let us know yet. So if any of you who submitted to this and got forwarded have heard from anybody, please let us know. All right, number 3. By the way, taxi member Bob Meddy just had a track picked up. Bob does really cool stuff. He got a song in a TV commercial. Oh man, Estee Lauder track or Estee Lauder commercial, I think. And that one was a nice paycheck. He just had something picked up for a feature film. So Bob, if you're watching, congratulations. Thanks for letting us know. This next one is called In the Middle of the Night, and it is from longtime taxi member Frank Longo. Let's have a listen. Classic. Definitely Cool in the Gang. Great sounding bass. Everyone skate backwards. Great. I love it. Amanda says she's bopping in bed. All right, that was called In the Middle of the Night by Frank Longo. Really, really cool. Digging out my bell bottoms as we speak. I love it. Okay. So far, so good, right? Everything's pretty cool. And Ryan put these together for me. So she obviously, I think, grouped them in the, we're going down the genre list, maybe. I remember, I think there was only one forward for the pop punk thing or whatever version of punk they were looking for. Where is that? It's the recap. Gritty rock and early retro sounding punk. I think we only had one punk thing that got forwarded, but I don't think it's on here because it was probably a private one, so we couldn't put it on the show. But we're clearly in the danceable R&B, soul, and funk category right now, so thanks for putting those all together, Ryan. Moving on to number 4, which is called Soul Possession. It's an instrumental by Scott Free and Scott Free for All band, I guess. Buddy Miles. Them Changes. Sam and Dave. And that was Soul Possession, instrumental from Scott Free. That one and the one before, it sounded like there were probably songs that maybe the lead vocal pulled out of. I mean, you actually had that boom, 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 boom. There was a figure in there that carried some sort of melody, but I think it needed more melody. But for a commercial, could work. So definitely in the ballpark of the genre and well executed. So it got a forward. Michael should be love theme nights. Michael should be a DJ. Yeah, there's something I'll probably never do. Okay, and now we're moving on to number 6, which is called Cactus Joe. Ooh, now we're moving into the spaghetti western stuff. I was shocked how much great spaghetti western stuff our members had. This one's from Gareth Ebbs, And it is called Cactus Joe. So let's have a listen. Huh. That was 47 seconds long. I think the listing said must be at least 2 minutes long. I mean, look, it's a 30-second commercial. If they couldn't find what they needed in 47 seconds, they wouldn't use it. But I'm surprised the screener forwarded that on. But if we didn't, the member would have said, but it was so good, you should have. So the screener was being generous and taking a chance because they obviously liked it enough that they thought it had hope, and there was enough of it there in 47 seconds. So now we're moving on, which you just heard the first couple notes of. This is called Chuck's Ride, and this is from Charles Sperry. And let's have a listen. More spaghetti western. Yeah, this one's kind of a Tarantino goes spaghetti western. Really cool piece. Doesn't exactly scream optimism that TV commercials normally use. Ooh, nice little harmony horn parts. All right, and that was from Charles Sperry, and it's called Chuck's Ride. You guys like that one, huh? Could be a TV spot for a mysterious product. What's your dark desire kind of thing? Yeah, it's for a major retailer, so anything's possible, I guess. And as you saw in the listing, we gave you every word that we got from New York on that one. Jim Carvalho says his hips are moving. I don't want a visual on that at all. All right. The next one is called Last Man Standing, and it was sent in by Derek Luce. Last Man Standing. Let's have a listen. guitar part. And a fade. And we're at 1 minute. It's funny, even though that was a cool one, though. That's from Last Man Standing from Derek Lewis. Didn't the listing say at least 2 minutes? Let's go have a look. Maybe I'm thinking of another listing. This was under taxi tips, so it wasn't what we got from New York, but we know that people generally like stuff in the 2 minute range because it gives them more stuff to edit from. But we said full-length instrumentals or songs that are at least 2 minutes long are recommended, so not mandatory. Okay, so can't chew anybody out for that. It was recommended, but not absolutely required. I'm not hearing edit points. I could have edited that. Let's check it out a little bit. Let's see if there's any edit points. Got the pickup on the guitar. But if you edited to boom. Yeah, you get that same figure repeating. So yeah, you could edit that. Okay, moving on to number 8. I'm guessing this is a spaghetti western because it's called Los Benditos. Let's have a listen. This is from Greg Shearer. Also very good. Yeah, it's tough to know. I mean, here's the interesting thing: is so many of these are spaghetti western by genre, and they all sound remarkably similar. You know, they've all got the what was the Fender guitar that was so popular? Not a Strat, not a Tele, but they all have that sound. You know, the tremolo sounding guitar, and they sound similar, yet they're all different. Each one has had a little different mood, so it really depends on what's going on in the script and the action in the spot. Oh, cool. People are putting in +1s. That means they liked it. Yes, the Jazzmaster, Fender Jazzmaster. I don't think people give the Jazzmaster enough love. Maybe it was too limited in what it could do. All right, and yet another. Boy, we've got a lot of spaghetti western stuff. The next one is from a taxi member named Jeff Riggs. I can see by his phone number he's from Nashville, and this one is called Riding High. Rockstar. This one's a little more serious, but you could juxtapose it against something that's funny, and it would make it even funnier. Notice the timpani? Curious to see how he ends up. Button ending. Yeah. All right. We are making really good time. I'm actually going to finish the show in an hour. Awesome. Okay, that was Riding High from Jeff Riggs. Good job on that, Jeff. Hey, the next one is called 10 Paces from Matthew C. Vanderba. How do you pronounce your last name? I'm guessing it's Dutch. I know Matt was on the show. I saw him earlier. And Matt is from Idaho, if I remember correctly. Vanderbo. Thank you, Matt. All right. So let's have a listen. This is Matt's piece, and he's in the house, and it's called 10 Paces. Here we go. B3 in there. Good job, Matt. Matt's been getting some forwards and deals lately. Now we know why. Really good job. Okay. Ah, Scott Free coming up again. Wow, he had two forwards on this one. That's rare. You know what? I can't remember if I talked about this on the phone with a member or with you guys on the show. So I'm going to bring it up now. The 2 and 3 people often submit like 3 of the same genre for a listing, figuring they'll increase their odds. And the screener, it could be 1 screener, could be 3 screeners, could be 4 screeners on a particular batch. Sometimes the same screener will get all 3 pieces, and yet only 1 of the 3 pieces will get forwarded. And the member will write in and say, how come you only forwarded 1 of my things? The other 2 have been forwarded for other listings. Maybe they're in some non-exclusive libraries. They're obviously good enough. Why did you forward only 1 of the 3? And the screener logic behind that. I can't say this is true 100% of the time, but I know if I were the screener on it, I would forward the one that I thought fit the listing the most or the best, because if 3 songs are forwarded and the one that gets heard first is the least appealing to the person on the receiving end, that may prevent them from listening to the other 1 or 2, of which one of those would have been the one that got picked. So the screeners are sometimes prone to sending 1 of 3 and picking the one that they think, if there's one that is obviously more appropriate than the other 2, they'll usually forward that one and not forward the other 2 for the reason I just explained. So I hope that brings light to those of you, or shed some light for those of you who've had that question. And now that I've said that, Scott Free got 2 forwards on this, and this one is called Wishin' I Was Clint. Banjo. Ooh, nice vocals. How's that for a fade? That was the Lasco button ending right there. Also really, really good. Okay, now we're moving into, and Greg Shearer got a second forward on the next one I'm going to play you, but not, actually I have a question mark next to this one, so it might not be Spaghetti Western. Let's find out. It might be. It's called Deuces Wild. Let's have a listen and check this out. This is Greg Shear, Deuces Wild. Definitely not spaghetti western. I'm gonna call this Quentin Tarantino-esque. Now, this one's not supposed to be spaghetti western. Yeah, more Tarantino. It's like, could have been used in Kill Bill, right? All right, so that was once again Greg Shear, and that was called Deuces Wild. I think it falls more into the Quentin Tarantino, quirky, unusual. I don't know what genre you would call that. Little mystery. Could also work. Speaking of mystery, what was his name? Man of Mystery. Funny take off on old spy movies. Gosh. Can't think of his name. 3 movies with him in it. James Bond genre. I don't think they've got a genre called James Bond, but spy music. But who's the guy that did Austin Powers? Thank you. Duh. This could have worked for Austin Powers. Somebody said they thought it would work. Definitely, Amanda said definitely high fashion music. I don't know. I was trying to think of the kind of commercial, and I could see plenty of scenes in films or TV shows I'd use this for. I don't know that I could think of how it'd be used in a commercial for a retailer, but who knows? And somebody was asking about the issue of some of the stuff they heard. Somebody mentioned that there are times they've been not forwarded based on their samples not sounding good enough, and yet there was some stuff on these things that got forwarded today where the samples were less than wonderful. I think it's because you got to look at the overall package. Like I mentioned on the show I did about broadcast quality a few weeks ago, it's not like the whole package. If the package works, could I hear this in a TV commercial? There might be samples that sound cheesy, but they add to the cheesiness of the music and make it work. You're going to hear a song in a minute that I'm going to play for you that sounds very, very kind of 60s, late 60s, maybe early 70s. And the fidelity on it and stuff doesn't sound great, but it sounds wonderfully appropriate for the song. And the song is so cool that if they were looking for stuff that sounds like it'd be in a Wes Anderson movie, the song I'm going to play for you would be perfect for it. As a matter of fact, it was my favorite forward out of everything that I heard in this batch that was forwarded. Moving on now to a song called Scarecrow Waltz. And this is from Taxi member Carl Schoenbeck. Scarecrow Waltz. banjo and theremin. Now that was a buttoned ending. Yay! Uh, I like that one. It was very quirky. You know, when you see a listing asking for quirky music, how do you quantify quirky? Oh, that was pretty quirky. Um, that would work in a Wes Anderson film. That could work in a TV commercial. I liked it. I can see why it got a forward. Okay. All right. Coming up to one called Spaghetti West. This is from Taxi member Gary Sredzinski. Gary, I've mentioned him on the show before. I know him personally. I actually flew to his town, Kittery Point, Maine, and took him out to dinner because he got a major film placement very early in his membership. Gary owns like 100 accordions, has like 100 of them up in the attic of his house. The man lives and breathes accordions. He's got a band called the Surfs, Serfs. He does just about every genre of music that you can imagine with an accordion, and he's a great guy. And he gets forwarded a lot, and I'd say like once or twice a year he gets some pretty major, like he's had feature film placements, big TV show placements, all done with accordion. So let's have a listen to Mr. Gary Sredzinski's song Spaghetti West. And lo and behold, there's an accordion. Shocking. Screamo. Kind of spaghetti western polka. And a polka. I think I hear a guitar in there. Okay, that was one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet, Gary Sredzinski, a song called Spaghetti West. And somebody just said, Michael, is this you visited in Maine some years ago? Yeah. I flew, gosh, there's a town, I can't remember where I flew into. There, but you have to cross a little bridge to go to Kittery Point, Maine. I think I flew into, what state? Not Rhode Island, what's next to Maine? I flew in there. I do remember they had great, I had some time to kill, so I walked around. They had great antique stores there. And I went out to dinner with Gary, and we walked into a restaurant that was very much like Cheers. I think he knew everybody in the restaurant. I think he probably played at the restaurant. And Gary's a very sociable guy, very outgoing and lovable. And we walked in, and he goes, "Hey everybody, this is my friend Michael Lasco. He's from Los Angeles and he's in the music business." I was so embarrassed. New Hampshire, I believe. I flew into New Hampshire. What's the town? Name some major towns in New Hampshire. A seaport town in New Hampshire. Norm. It was definitely like being Norm. It was definitely a hey Norm moment. Um, anyway, whatever it was, the whole trip was wonderful. Gary and I went out to dinner. I think we went out to lunch the next day before I flew back. But I literally flew out there just to congratulate him. I think he got an accordion piece in the movie Bad News Bears 2, if I remember correctly. And he was so thrilled, just so off the hook excited. He'd never made a penny with his music other than doing live stuff and selling at the gigs. So he was just absolutely beside himself. So I flew out, and I think I took a picture of him standing in front of a bunch of lobster traps. And we may have, I think we ran an ad with Gary saying, if a guy playing accordion, I think he made, I don't know, I want to say like 3 or 4 thousand bucks, was the sync fee on that, and probably has made thousands more in performance money over the years. Anyway, Gary Srdzinski, I love him. Great guy. Okay, switching gears now. Um, how many of you guys give me Portsmouth? Thank you. I flew into Portsmouth, and then rented a car and drove over the bridge to Kittery Point, which is a tiny little town. I think I was lost, and I asked somebody, "How do you get to Gary Srdzinski's house?" And they knew. And you had to drive down this long, like gravelly, muddy road through like a little forest to get to his house, which was on the bank of a river. I've mentioned this on the show before. Gary gets up every morning, puts on a wetsuit, even in the dead of winter. I mean, winter in Maine, cold, and Gary swims for miles in this river, and he's done fundraisers, see how far I can swim, and gets paid. People donate money because of his efforts. Anyway, just a great guy. I love having him as a member. All right, so how many of you guys have ever seen a Wes Anderson movie? And I actually made a list with a little homework before the show. I think I've seen all these movies. The Royal Tenenbaums, Moonrise Kingdom, which was like a year or so ago, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, The Grand Budapest Hotel, which was just, maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago, The Darjeeling Limited. I love Wes Anderson movies. They're really quirky and unusual, but they are unto themselves. And if you either love them or you hate them, I love them. Okay, so remember the listing said tracks can sound like they belong in a Wes Anderson or Tarantino or spaghetti western movie, and we could have tracks or songs. So I heard this one, and tell me if I'm nuts, but I think that this one, I've got to find a way to get this to Wes Anderson because he'll use it in a movie sooner or later. Oh, I should tell you, this is from Taxi member Ben Irwand, Urwand, and his band is called The Attachments.
I wish I could always be as excited as I am now. Everything around me seems to be very different somehow. People passing by don't know what just happened. Na, 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 na. I wish I could always be as excited as I am now. Walking down the street at 5 in the morning and I don't care. I will go to sleep tonight. She will be there. People passing by don't know what just happened. Na, 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 na. Walking down the street at 5 in the morning and I don't care. But I'll go and analyze it. Tell the friends and tranquilize it. Gonna keep a secret for a week or two. Always getting so excited. But if I
Early
could
who?
only hide it, would there be a limit to what we could do?
Yeah, I love that one. It's a great example of, well, think of the Wes Anderson movie, Moonrise Kingdom. It's about a kid who's some form of like Boy Scout or something, and there's a girl who's probably 14, 15 years old, and the girl and the Boy Scout fall in love via binoculars, and they run off to build a life together, and everybody's out hunting for them. I absolutely could hear that song in that film, and I think Wes Anderson would dig it. So anyway, there you have it. 15 songs forwarded for that listing, and I didn't bother to ask how many were submitted for it, but it's a lot of forwards. And I'm hoping we get something in that spot or one of those spots. Any questions before we sign off? I hate the delay on the chat room. Yeah, very 70s, or actually kind of like, I think 63, 64 British. Bob Lagrasso has a question. Okay. You're welcome, Matt. What's the question, Bob? Spit it out. I hate watching episodes where I just sit there staring at the chat room. Bob had a question, but I think he fell asleep. There we go. Does the Allah for the Black Keys change since their new album Turn Blue is completely new vibe for them? I would guess that stuff, look at it in context. If you're seeing other artists that are referenced that are in the same vibe as the old Black Keys sound, that's what they're looking for. People are very afraid of mentioning the Black Keys. Specifically and singularly because I believe they brought a lawsuit against somebody for sounding too much like them. Wasn't a copyright infringement suit, but that their sound was their brand and their trademark, as it were. And so I think everybody in the industry, if they're smart, I've seen some of the other companies that try to emulate Taxi put out listings. We're looking for stuff like the Black Keys because that's what supervisors will ask for or libraries will ask for. It's a pretty popular genre, but I would never singularly identify them. If you're watching other companies, there you go. There's your lesson from Taxi today. Don't run listings with just the Black Keys in there because sooner or later you're going to get your butt sued. It's that general sound category or musical category that would include some other artists that have that kind of lo-fi blues rock sound. They are not alone in that category, yet people often reference them singularly because they're the easy target. Maybe that's the reason that their new record sounds a little different. Or maybe they're just moving on. The Beatles didn't sound the same from one record to the next. You're welcome, Robbie. I love doing these shows. I mean, sometimes it's a bitch coming up with ideas that I haven't covered like 2 or 3 times before, but I do have to remind myself that we always have a new audience every week, or every few months. I think we get some turnover. Please explain how the user major retail brand affects the choice of music. All right. Retailers have a sound. Fashion retailers tend to have kind of a sound palette that they work from. What they didn't tell us and couldn't tell us was the retailer Best Buy, which is electronics, or was it the Gap, or something else? So we really didn't know. For instance, if a listing, and we've had Best Buy, I think, has run probably 3 listings with us over the last few years. they would tend to use stuff that would be a little more high tech sounding, that would lend itself to, pictures of TVs or computers or headphones, things that Best Buy sells. Um, Retailer, as in J.C. Penney or The Gap or other fashion oriented retailers, would have yet another sound. Target tends to be, I think they have some of the best music. And Target retails anything from, laundry soap to fashion, although their commercials tend to be fashion. So now, just think about that last song. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of it once again. And can't you just imagine this song being used in a Target spot for back to school clothing?
I wish I could always be as excited as I am now. Everything around me seems to be very different somehow. People passing by don't know what just happened. I wish I could always be as excited as I am now.
Can't you just imagine that in a Target spot? It would be perfect. That would probably work in an Apple spot as well. Um, Jim Carvalho, should I rejoin Taxi in September for a second year? Is there anything new coming up? Yeah, I just saw this on the forums earlier today. Somebody's going, I got like 30 forwards in my first year and nothing happened. And everybody's like, dude, 30 forwards. And he actually said, oh, actually it was 39 forwards. And people are going, dude, hang in there. You're going to get stuff signed and eventually you will get stuff placed. It doesn't happen typically in a year. That's why the members created the phrase the 5 year plan, because they know that it takes a while. And yes, the road rally. If your renewal is coming up in September, come to the road rally. I scream it from the rooftops. I beg people to come. It's free for you, it's free for a guest. Any other convention of the size and frankly, I don't know anybody else that matches the quality of what we do at the road rally. But come on, other tickets to other big conferences are like 300, $350, sometimes as much as $1,000 a ticket. You get two tickets. Bring your wife, bring a bandmate, bring another musical friend. You will get so much more than your money's worth for by coming to the road rally. People, they don't call it life changing for nothing. It's like I can't even explain it. Got to go to the road rally. Can I do a road rally in the UK? Yeah, if I could charge like $500 a ticket, I would definitely do one in the UK. But we had like 100 different speakers, teachers, and mentors and panelists last year. Could you imagine flying 100 people from New York and LA to the UK? Not to mention all the gear and the officey stuff that we bring. It's just financially not possible. But if we could charge $500 a ticket and get a couple thousand people, it'd be $100,000. We could probably break even. Um, let's see. Waddy JP says, I think forwards are like batting in baseball. You get some runs and you go through some slumps. Absolutely. I mean, come on. Even Tiger Woods doesn't win every time. Gloria's coming to the road rally. Good. Social security checks begin from fun songs. Um, how about doing one in Nashville and using your Nashville connections? I could, but how many film and TV people are there in Nashville? Not enough, and that's what the members want a lot of. I do have a lot of connections in Nashville. That was weird. The picture just dropped out. Anyway, flew to Nashville, Lowe's Hotel, and did like a 4 hour thing on film and TV music, and did it for free. Nobody had to pay to go to that. Um, what about a live stall to stall of screeners as they go through submissions and have on the spot commentary? The problem with doing is that we would have to play the music, and we don't necessarily have the permission of everybody. So I wouldn't want to play somebody's music. It would obviously have to be kind of a on the fly thing. And what if we came up to a screener and you guys would want to hear the music? Well, they'd have to pull out their headphones, play the music in the room, disturb all the other screeners, and we could play something that maybe somebody didn't want to have played publicly. So can't do that. Stephen Giles says, rally for the win. Thank you, Stephen. I think you should have a checkoff box when we submit giving permission for you to use sections on Taxi TV. We just automatically look to see if the stuff is marked public. And if it is, then we use it. Can we still do that screener dunk tank for charity? I can't say that won't happen. The insurance at the hotel is the bigger issue, but I think it would be awesome. Willie Booger Blue says, if I get 40 forwards a year every year, can one expect some paychecks in the second year? I don't know if you can ever expect anything as a guarantee, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. If you found a way to pipe music directly into the stream. Yeah, if I want to preload all the music into the Ustream, it's called Ustream Producer. We used to do it. The problem is that going between the microphone and the music, I either have to wear headphones for the show, which I refuse to do, or remember to mute the microphone every time I go back and forth. And we used to have feedback issues, and when you get feedback, it automatically mutes the microphone. So like after every play, I'd start talking and their mic would be silent. And I couldn't talk over stuff. So we just finally said, oh, screw it. If I have ideas for future shows, where do I send them? I would love ideas for future shows. And sometimes I do get them forwarded to me from the staff, but send them to Sophia. And her name is with two F's, not a PH. Soffia, Sophia@taxi.com, and put in the subject line, idea for Taxi TV. Sometimes the idea is not enough to do a whole hour or 90 minutes on, so I'll take 2 or 3 ideas and try and incorporate them in other shows. But I would love ideas, because believe me, there are a lot of Sundays where I freak out. I said it to my wife last night. I had a couple of ideas, but nothing that I felt like I could fill a whole hour with. And I really wanted to do this show, but I knew that Sophia was going to be out of town, and things were going to be... Mondays are always our busy day at Taxi, and... people that tried to submit over the weekend and couldn't upload or didn't know how to, convert to an MP3, whatever. So we get a lot of phone calls, and Mondays are busy. But I got Ryan. And by the way, Ryan's name is Rhiann, not Ryan like Ryan. As a matter of fact, when I interviewed her for the job, and I said, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Rihan? And she said, no, it's Ryan. So easy to remember. Steve Giles already grew his rally beard. Robbie Hancock, where do we send our ideas for shows? Sophia@taxi.com. All right. That's it. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you to all the members, and congratulations to all the stuff that got forwarded. I was really proud of you guys. I'm always proud of you guys, but even more proud when I hear a bunch of great stuff and know that we send it off to the people in New York or LA or wherever it goes, and they're impressed. So that's it. I will see you soon. And I won't be doing the members-only show on Wednesday this week. I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of those between now and the road rally, because I need the time to prep for the road rally. But Wednesday, I've got to be somewhere. I can't remember. Anyway, I will see you soon. Bye, you guys. Thanks for watching.